Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Pre-Production for the Modern Guitarist. In this video, before we actually start tracking guitars, I want to show a little bit about how I connect into my audio interface with my DI box and how I set my levels, and I want to talk a little bit about gain staging. So there's a couple different ways you can actually approach gain staging. So since we're going to be focusing on tracking guitar DIs, one of the things that I had to keep in mind when I was actually first getting into doing this, when I was recording my solo album, is you don't want to have DI levels clipping. That is a no-no because nobody wants to redo their guitar takes. Alright, so step 1, you're going to connect your guitar cable into your guitar. Step 2, connect the other side of your guitar cable into your DI box. From your DI box, you're going to connect XLR into your audio interface. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so now that we're all connected and we're back in Logic, we're going to start setting up our levels so we can start recording some guitars. So another thing I want to mention too is on my interface there's a phantom power switch that I have turned on because since I have an active DI box it requires phantom power, so make sure you have that set up because if you don't, it's just going to drain the battery out of your DI and it's not going to sound very good. So always make sure that you turn on phantom power if you have an active DI box. Alright, so before I actually start setting up my signal levels, what I like to do is make sure I have nothing on my track. So I just want it to be a clean DI signal. Alright, so let's start setting up our levels. And also on my interface, there's a little light halo that kind of wraps around the gain knob. Now with the gain knob little halo color thing, that's kind of been deceiving to me sometimes, so I always try to make sure I go by the level of my DAW. If you start seeing red, then it's obviously bad. Now, if you go too low, it's also bad too because there's a signal to noise ratio and you don't want to be too low to where when they try to bring it up, it's just a ton of noise. And also if you go too high, you're clipping. So you I always try to be within -6, -3 dB, and you pretty much can't go wrong with that because you want to have a good strong signal, but at the same time you don't want it to be too low and you don't want it to be too hot. Because now that mostly everything is in the digital realm now, it's not like a lot of analog gear where they can crank the input gain a little bit and kind of get a little more juice from the analog gear. So we don't want to do that because you can clip analog gear, you can't clip digital gear. It's just bad. So always remember that. Clipping. Alright, so let's start getting our levels. Now you can already see I'm clipping because you can see right here it's red. Now, and also it's red on my interface. So let's start bringing it down a little bit. So make sure that when you're actually setting your levels, you're actually playing at the dynamics you would normally play. You don't want to play soft. And then when you actually start recording your... So always try to keep it consistent, keep it the same. Now palm mutes are good too because a lot of that low end kind of takes up a lot of headroom, so checking it with palm mutes is always good as well. I'm going to bring it down a little bit just in case. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn on our amp sim and see how it's sounding. Alright, cool, so we're all ready to record. So in the next video I'm going to show you guys how I set up my tools and start tracking some damn guitars already. So now that we've gotten past some of the boring stuff, now it's time to get into some of the fun stuff. So, and another thing I want to mention too, if some of these videos are things you already know, that's fine because this is pretty much for the person who maybe has no idea what they're supposed to be doing when it comes to home recording and they have a lot of questions, or you know, maybe they have a basic idea but they're not sure exactly how to go about it. So you know, I'm just trying to cover the whole basis of pre-production from start to finish. So if a lot of that stuff is pretty much common knowledge to you, then that's great. But if maybe you had some questions on actual recording guitars and editing and how to punch in and that kind of thing, we're going to be doing that in the next video. So make sure to stick around because we're going to start recording some guitars real soon. So until then, goodbye.